What's up? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. I want to make sure you're in the chat today. You are blowing it up, and you are clicking like, subscribe, and share, and all that things, and that we want you to do so that our 7 viewers will turn into 8, 9, 10. Share this thing over to your social media real quick. Just go ahead and do it. If you're there in the Rumble chat, welcome to the Chad Prather Show. We're going to get into it in a moment. If you're over there under the Google overlords there on YouTube, we'll pray for you, but we're glad you're here. Make the switch over to Rumble and come on. And don't forget, when we're done here today, I want you to go to where podcasts are offered. Specifically, go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify, you can do all that, but I like watching the charts over on Apple. It's just a vanity ranking. Doesn't mean anything to anybody else except for me, and I check it every day, 17 times a day. But go over there and listen to the show, the audio version of the show, and maybe share that to your socials as well. But while you're there, leave a 5-star rating. That's what we deserve. And also leave us a review. You can tell us anything you want to tell us, and we would love to read what you have to say about what we're doing here on the Chad Prather Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am glad you guys are here. We had a good time this morning on Dear American. We got a good time planned for you here today. Might even get off the rails on a Tuesday. Hope everybody's not too hungover from the green beer yesterday. It was St. Patrick's Day is what they told me. I was in bed by 8 o'clock, but I didn't go to sleep till about 1. That's because I don't sleep. Y'all need to pray for me. Please pray for me. I want to tell every one of you once again that this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, I'll be at the Blue Room of all names, the Blue Room Comedy Club in Springfield, Missouri. 5 shows, 3 nights. Our brand new comedy tour is kicking off this weekend, and we chose the exotic locale of Springfield, Missouri to do that. Right there at the Blue Room. It is the right side of comedy. Jesse Payton and me, we will be there for the Gulf of America comedy tour, and we are triggering people on the left. The Riri meltdown is glorious on social media, and I'm here for it. But that's what happens when you go to a college town that's also in the top 10 most violent cities in America to kick off a tour called The Right Side of Comedy. So let's go. We don't travel light, baby. We're coming in strapped and probably bulletproof, but whatever. I said back in the 1980s, as a kid, I said back in the 80s, that when Ted Turner came out with CNN, I don't know how are you gonna have a 24-hour, 7 days a week news cycle? You're gonna run out of news. Eventually, you're gonna start making stories up. So I want to talk to you just for a minute before we get started about the 24-hour news cycle. It's a relentless buffet of chaos served up by the talking heads who clearly graduated from the school of hyperbole and fear-mongering. It's like a never-ending reality show where the plot twists are more outrageous than a soap opera on steroids. We tune in, we consume the news like entertainment as if we're watching a train wreck in slow motion. I mean, it's just another disaster, another tragedy, one thing after another, like a kid watching a cartoon where the villain slips on a banana peel, lands on dynamite, and blows up, and a boulder falls on their head from 500 feet. And we're practically gluttons for the punishment, begging for the next juicy tidbit of doom and gloom and dread. Now, let's not forget the dramatic breaking news music that accompanies these segments as if it's, they're trying to set the mood for a horror film. Breaking news, the world is ending. But first, a word from our sponsor, because nothing says the sky is falling quite like a commercial from MyPillow. Now, it's like we've collectively decided that fear is the new comfort food. Instead of chocolate cake, we're diving headfirst into a giant bowl of anxiety, spooning it in while watching the latest crisis unfold. And it feels like a heart attack on a plate, but at least we're informed. So here we are, glued to the screen, lapping up the insanity, all while trying to convince ourselves that we're just getting more information, new intel. But let's be real, we're practically cheering for the chaos like it's the Super Bowl of calamity. And who needs reality whenever the absurdity of the news is so much more entertaining? Give us that fake news. We want it. It's so much more fun. And what are the lasting results of being media-holics? Well, we have increased anxiety and stress from the constant exposure to distressing news. We got the desensitization, that's a big word, desensitization, because over time, viewers have become, desensitized to violence and tragedy and suffering. Then we have fear and paranoia from the sensationalist nature of the news coverage that can amplify fears about personal safety and societal issues, and we suddenly don't want anything to do with the world anymore. There's even sleep disruption. What did I just say a little while ago? I go to bed, I don't go to sleep, because I'm an adrenaline junkie that's just spiked up from the news story that I've just read on X. There's cognitive overload from the sheer volume of information, social isolation because excessive news consumption leads to social withdrawal. I don't even like people anymore viewers are going to prioritize news over social interactions. You got mood fluctuations, polarization and division, addictive behavior, reduced attention span, and all of that is what we're going to bring you here today on a very newsy The Chad Prather Show, and we'll have some fun along the way. Before we get going, I want to remind you guys about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You say, I don't know, they seem like a small company, and I might drop calls and have bad coverage. You won't, because Patriot Mobile uses the exact same cell towers as the big three. The difference is, while the big three send a portion of your bill off to the leftist crazy causes like Planned Parenthood, and they do that, Patriot Mobile's not going to do that. They're going to continue to support your First Amendment, Second Amendment rights, as well as believe in the right to life and all the things that you value and you have founded your life on. They believe the same things. Like I said, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, and they have a plan that will fit your family's budget. You just go over to patriotmobile.com/Chad, or you can call them on the phone, 972-PATRIOT, and get them on the phone. They're 100% U.S.-based customer service team, and guess what? You'll understand what they have to say, because they're Americans. And if you use promo code CHAD, you will get the first month free. They'll switch your phone over, get you a new phone. You can use your old phone, save your number, get a new number, whatever you need to do. Whatever combination of communication you need to do, Patriot Mobile's got you covered. patriotmobile.com/Chad. And while you're over there, use promo code CHAD. Oh, and if you're a first responder hero or a veteran or an active duty military member, when you call them up and tell them I sent you at 972-PATRIOT, they'll give you free activation. You got nothing to worry about. All right, guys, let's get into this thing. Party Foul Steve's in the next room. Ding dong. There he is.
I'm here all day.
What are you reading on the phone, Steve?
Man, I was reading about these JFK files.
Are they out yet?
I don't think they are, but then I saw something where they were, and then I saw something where they're waiting on them, so I don't know. Said this afternoon they're coming out.
You going to read all 80,000 documents?
No, I'm going to hope somebody runs it through the AI
See?
platform and
See, this is just what I'm saying.
Gives it to me in about 2 sentences.
And they will. Nobody's going to do their own research. Now, the deputy press secretary said it's going to be shocking, the revelations that are in there. I'm sorry, I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope on that. But let me tell you, somebody that doesn't run it through AI and Grok, she actually does her own research. She checks things out, and she's where I go to get breaking news, as many of you do. And if you don't, you need to. Welcome to the show once again, our friend Brianna Morello.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm appreciative of all of this. By the way, Grok said it was out, but it wasn't out. So I'm a little nervous about this AI thing.
See? There you go.
Yes.
How do you leak, Brianna, how do you just let go of 80,000 supposedly unredacted documents and go, here you go? What do you do with that at that point? I mean, who reads that crap?
From a journalistic standpoint, no one does, not even those in the corporate media world. They actually normally would hire people to look into it, but you're kind of hoping at that point that a nice nonprofit maybe will skim through it and have a legal team look through it, because that's really where you're going to get the bulk of it. Now, from my perspective, I'll probably have to key search a couple of words and see what pops up. That's the easiest way for me to kind of go through it. 80,000 pages is a lot of pages. But that's probably why they're dumping all of this onto the public, because they're hoping that you don't see the key things that you need to see. And so they bury it with all those pages.
So if you do a keyword search, how does one that is not technologically savvy, like, say, Party Foul Steve, how does one do that?
I believe it's like Command S. Don't quote me on it. Every now and then I have to Google it before I do it myself. But there's a certain thing that you hit on your keyboard, it pops up, and you type in the word, and it will highlight all the pages necessary for you to kind of view it. So I've used that a couple of times when there's a big document dump that's taking place.
So it's a big document. You just get to the keyword search, and you do that and try to find the stuff that you're looking for. Like we were just talking about our friend Gaston Mooney, who is the president of the Blaze Network. And back when he worked for various congressional offices, he told me that whenever he was tasked with reading a bill, he started at the back and worked forward because they hide all the juicy stuff in the back, right? So I thought, that's an interesting thing. I don't know if this will be that case. Like, I want to know, like, get down to the brass tacks. Was it LBJ? Was it the mafia? Was it the unions? Was it the Teamsters? Was it the Irish? Was it the Catholics? Was it everybody? I mean, everybody wanted JFK dead. The CIA, everybody, you name it. Yeah. Do you think we're going to get, Brianna, do you think there'll be anything that comes out of this whole deal at all?
No, I think that's why they're releasing it first. I don't trust anything at this point. I think all the juicy stuff has been tossed so that we can't see it. They're protecting the institutions. Obviously, everyone involved in the JFK assassination is dead. But the reality of it is these institutions are so sacred to the corrupt swamp creatures that they're going to try their very best to protect them. And I can't imagine anything coming out that's going to be groundbreaking that you haven't already known.
Like, what do you think? And I want to get Steve's perspective on this too. What do you think could be groundbreaking? Like, what do you think they could release?
I think I've heard every scenario that there is, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was any of those or none of them. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be satisfied because we want it to be the most juiciest. We want the highest up person to be involved in it, whether it be the mafia or whether it be, the union bosses, stuff like that. We want them, but there's nobody to go down for it.
Yeah. Well, the other problem here too is if you recall, and Chad, sorry about this one, but if you recall, AG Pam Bondi the night before dumping those binders onto folks, she was saying that what you're going to see is disturbing, and she was teasing it too as if it was going to be this groundbreaking piece of information. Obviously, she either A, didn't look at it herself, or B, had no idea what she was talking about because it was everything that we've already had. Actually, it was less because there was more redactions that were in those binders than what has been made public already. So I always go with, let's not disappoint the American people. My name's not Sean Hannity. I won't tease this for a while and tell you people are going to prison when I know they're not going to prison. I'll just tell you this. I don't think anything groundbreaking is coming of any of this.
Yeah, you mentioned Sean Hannity. I can remember back whenever whoever was in office, when Trump was in office the first time, and he would talk about Hillary, and he would always talk about TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
Indictments are coming.
And nothing ever happens.
Nothing. And those are the people I can't stand because they sit there and they lie to the American people. My sources tell me any day now the indictments are coming. And it's like, okay, let's get a good indictment. And nothing came from it. So I guess a little teaser to get it going when you're trying to get good ratings. You're trying to get people to continue to watch your show. But credibility is at a zero when it comes to Sean Hannity these days.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. The breaking news from Babylon B. CIA files reveal JFK was killed by seed oils. So
that was predictable.
I think that no wonder Bobby Kennedy's on a mission. I think that they could reveal maybe multiple shooters. That would be something that you'd look at and go, okay, we speculated that, but is anybody really surprised? I think Oliver Stone proved that in a movie a long time ago.
But they're kind of being maybe this time they're doing the opposite play. Maybe we're really going to get something really juicy, and they're just saying, hey, it'll be out this afternoon, and you can read for yourself. Yeah. And then maybe there is a bombshell.
Well, I just can't think that the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, when she dumped those Epstein files in our lap, which, as you know, we weren't there for that, but she came in there and gave us those things. Like, she must not have had a clue what was in those binders because we already had that information. We had all that stuff. Now, I was excited because at least they were making a gesture where they're saying we're at least willing to talk to, quote, influencers, which, again, I remind everybody, I'm a comedian that hosts a couple of podcasts. I'm not a journalist. I'm not an investigative researcher. I'm nothing like that. I just had a notebook. And I just don't think she knew what was in there or what people had already been privy to already, because I'd had that information for years, including the addresses and the cell phone numbers of people like Donald Trump. So.
Chad, she must have known, though. I think you're being very kind to her. So let me do the bashing a bit here, because she must have known, because she put that letter in there to Kash Patel saying that it's only 200 pages. So she had to have read 200 pages. She's an attorney at the end of the day. So she knows that there was nothing there. I think that she liked let's just say the salacious part of all of this and forgot that there's actual victims involved in this situation, and they're all alive, and they're all, well, not all alive, but a lot of them are alive, and they are probably on edge about what's going to come out in all of this, because a lot of they know and a lot of them they probably don't even know.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a fair point. And no, I'm pretty hard on her in regards to that. And I said so on Newsmax literally an hour or two after I'd gotten the file, where I said, there's nothing here. I mean, I had Andrew, I don't want to out everybody, but I had Andrew Wilkow. I had numerous people texting me going, what's in it? And I go, nothing. I mean, it's just nothing. It was a fun photo op, but there was nothing in there. But, we became the bad guys for even saying they gave it to us. People are outraged about everything. I do think that if there's nothing in this file, that people are going to be disappointed. They're going to feel duped again. And I just don't know how many hits in terms of its trustworthiness the Trump administration can continue to float these fantastical stories out there of revelation and not deliver the goods.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends what's really in the documents.
Is it possible that they really just don't know?
I was
with 80,000 pages and they still don't know.
I was peeing a little while ago and thinking that exact same thing. And I don't know why I do my most resourceful critical thinking while I'm taking a piss, but there I was. And I go, there I am sitting on the toilet. And I go, they can't give you what they don't know or what they don't have. But my thing about all of that is quit telling people you have something if you don't have anything. Like yesterday at the Kennedy Center, when Trump said, we're going to give this to you, and they asked for an executive summary, he said, I'm not going to do that because he doesn't have one. He hasn't looked at it. He doesn't know. Trump doesn't pay it. I will say this, and this pisses people off. Trump is a master salesperson. He is a master manipulator, if you want to call it that. He knows how to read a room and how to work people, but he's not that deep. He's not that deep when it comes to critical research. I mean, remember, this is the guy who talked about his favorite book was the Bible, and he loves reading the Bible. And they said, well, what's your favorite verse? And he goes, well, I don't want to get into that. I mean, it's not that hard to just say John 3:16. just anything out there, Donnie, and he didn't do it.
Oh, man.
But that's not the first time I've said that about Trump. He's just not that critical and deep. And yes, I see people blowing it up. You guys are always out in my secret. I try not to let people know I was in the Oval Office 3 weeks ago. But let's get into some fun stuff. So these people are destroying these Teslas. Only Donald Trump, as a master salesperson, as I said, only he can make liberals hate electric cars. A new one happened on Sunday, Brianna. You need to be on the lookout. This guy's up there in your neck of the woods.
Oh, God.
This was at the Dallas airport. They're keying these cars. This is felony vandalism.
Yeah, well, listen, if you and I find him, I'll do it. I'll beat him up because I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired of people walking around. I'm tired of doing this. The fact, and also, can we just highlight the fact that these people are so dumb that they don't realize that Teslas actually record when they're off, when they're just sitting in the parking lot. If someone gets too close to it, they record for this reason alone. But you just need to, and this is what's so concerning too. If he's going into the airport or leaving the airport, you just got to take a snap of his photo and run it through the security cameras because TSA, even though they tell you they don't save the photos that they take, they actually do. They send it to DHS as well. So this would be an easy little biometrics match they can make. So we could solve this pretty quickly. But, if we the people have to resolve this, I just say we leave it to the streets and let them handle it.
See, this is why, Brianna, you think from an investigative journalist's mind. You think of how to solve this thing, which begs the question. I want people to hear from you. And by the way, you need to be watching the Brianna Morello show every evening. She's breaking the news, and as well as on X. I mean, she's always at the forefront of everything. You're working really, really hard, and people need to support you as much as they can because what you're doing is a valuable tool. Valuable resource, I should say.
Yeah.
What's your approach to the media? As I said, it's easy for us to consume it like pablum, like the media just always something. I have this wall of TVs up here. I've got 3 55-inch televisions in front of me, all on a rack, and I've got nothing but the news. And so I see all this stuff, and it's just constant. And then sometimes I find myself thinking, where is the best place to just get the news? What's your opinion?
Okay, so it's really difficult because I say this. I say when you see the corporate media and you're watching and you're going back and forth through their channels, and you see that they're covering one particular story, giving one particular narrative, there's usually a cover-up. So the first thing your mind should go is, well, what do they want me not to talk about, not to think about? Because that's usually the best way to kind of handle that. Now, independent journalism, I say it all the time, is going to save this country. There are so many stories, and we're going to talk about one later today, but there's so many stories that they refuse to cover. And so that's why I think it's best for folks to get your information, honestly, on X. But here's the critical part, right? If someone's like putting out stories and it's not their first and last name, their face isn't on it, I wouldn't trust it. Because if you're a credible journalist, you'll put your name behind it, and that is the best way to move forward. There's all these bogus accounts who I think might be linked, this is a little conspiratorial here, might be linked to the intel communities because they want to discredit independent journalists. So they're just pushing all the fake information out there. They do it through Twitter, they do it through Telegram, and they're hoping that it discredits independent journalists because they can control the mainstream media, they can't control us. And so I would say find a couple of your favorite independent journalists, support their work, and that's the best way to go about it. Because honestly, I don't trust any of these mainstream media outlets, these mainstream journalists. They're trying to keep their job because they know that by themselves they couldn't survive. I only have my name to go on. So if I report on something that's not factually true, you unsubscribe to me, you stop following me, I lose my income, I lose my job. So I've got a lot on the line here. So I have to be truthful.
Yeah, Brianna is not sold out. I don't even know what that means anymore. Everything, people call you a sellout.
Yeah.
Every day I get called a sellout for something. But that's happened for the last 12 years, so whatever. I'm used to it. I would have more money if I'd sold out. I can tell you that. And I don't know what a redneck like me is supposedly selling. Now, one of the stories that the media is not covering, the mainstream media, the legacy media, they're not talking about this swatting thing. We spent a long time yesterday with my friend Larry Taunton on the show explaining what happened to him at 2 o'clock in the morning with his swatting experience there in Alabama. This is something that you've been on the top of. You have been breaking a lot of news when it comes to this swatting incident where SWAT teams are being called in from, by whoever with pizza deliveries and everything else. And these conservative influencers are having SWAT show up to their house. This was a tweet that you just put out. Juanita Broderick, if you don't know who Juanita Broderick is, that, of course, is of Bill Clinton rapey fame. And Juanita is a sweetheart. How many times has she been swatted now? Once or twice?
This was her first time being swatted, but the swatters are trying to, for this instance, I don't know if there was any priors before this year, but they were harassing her and trying to taunt her so that she knew it was coming. And they've been sending like so many pizza orders to her home. So it's one of the elements to this new swatting thing that's going on.
See, Larry didn't get a pizza order, which was interesting. I asked him about that, and at the time, he did not even know about the pizza thing. Larry puts content on social media, but he doesn't read social media, if that makes sense. So
what's
he's
the
kind of
significance with the pizza thing?
I think they're confirming. Brianna can speak to this, but I think they're confirming the name and the address.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like they're trying to confirm the name and address, but they're also doing it after the swatting to taunt them even more. So I'll give you an example. Obviously, Juanita, I love her to death. She's a great human being. I called her immediately to make sure when she was getting these pizza orders that she was okay, because I was the one that linked the pizza orders to these swattings that were going on. And I called up the first, I guess, like 5 people and asked them, hey, what's going on with your swatting? What happened before that you thought was strange? What happened after that you thought was strange? And people like Chase was like, oh, I got like a random Domino's pizza order that was not paid for. The driver was asking for cash. And I'm like, they're probably trying to see if you're home. And then I started calling around asking other people, and they reported similar situations, but it was before or it was after. Now, Juanita's is interesting because over the weekend, she received, at the same time, 3 pizza delivery orders: Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut. So I went and started calling her local pizzerias and told them, hey, listen, like, when did these come in? Are you guys getting an email address? Are you guys getting a phone number? The phone number that's being left on these orders is actually the phone number of either local police departments in their area or prisons in their area.
Prisons.
So we don't know who's doing it. Yes, which is kind of strange.
The pizza.
What was that?
Do they get to keep the pizza? I guess
No, because they have to pay
your house, you have to
cash.
eat it.
This person's not even paying for it. That's how disrespectful they are. They're not even paying for the pizza. They're
Yeah,
just
it's a
sending it to them.
COD. It's a COD, cash on delivery deal, which a lot of people, and I saw on your post yesterday, Sunday, where people were saying, why don't these restaurants just not do COD? But that's a major portion, like 20% of their business.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so these companies, these local franchise owners are actually suffering because of things like this.
Yeah, and they have to pay the drivers on top of it for their gas, so they're really losing a lot of money on this. So while I was on the phone actually with Pizza Hut at Juanita's location, the guy's like, oh, another order just came in for Juanita's house, but we voided it. And it's like, at what point do these people stop? So she wasn't swatted. It happened to her a couple of days before these pizza deliveries, and then all of a sudden she was swatted last night. Now, there were other individuals who live in apartment complexes, and they don't want to give their name because they don't want to confirm their address, but they were getting Domino's pizza delivery orders months ago. And then because their doorman or if they couldn't get into the building, these orders were getting kicked back to the restaurants. But they never got swatted because they learned that it's not an easy entrance, and the swatting, I guess, wouldn't really work out for them. So that's the element to all of this. They probably are using it for a dry run to test out the swatting response that could take place.
Yeah.
But I've been warning everyone, call your local police department, make a plan, let them know that this is happening and that you might be the next victim in that. It kind of helps, but the police are always going to come. So they're not going to not come because they don't know if it's a dry run for something bigger later on.
And I know there's people out there who think that it's going to be like you want to be mad at the pizza delivery person or the cops. They're not in any way at fault. I mean, it's not their fault. They're just doing their jobs.
And the worst part about this too is the individual who's doing this is staying, or people, it could be multiple people, I don't know. But they're staying on the phone with 911 throughout the entire SWAT. So they'll be on the call for over 15 minutes listening in. And this individual is pretending to be the homeowner. And this is where it gets scary because then police have the right to enter your home. If you're the homeowner on the phone saying you're injured or someone's in there, they got a gun to your head, they do have the authority to enter your home. Now, the only thing that saved one person was that their front door was locked. And the person on the 911 call was saying that they bashed in my front door. So police knew immediately that his front door was locked and that didn't match the 911 call, so they didn't enter. So if you have kids at home, this is serious. This is where the attempted murder comes in. These police officers potentially could enter your home and accidentally shoot your child, your wife, your husband, whoever it is, because they think this is the intruder. So police are really upset by this. Many people in law enforcement have said that they're really kind of shook up on that because they don't want to take the life of a child. They don't want to injure anyone that's innocent. Sure. They're just there to help.
Well, and also, like in if you look at the security camera footage of Larry Taunton's at his house, and I've been to his house numerous times, he is way down in the woods on Lay Lake in Alabama, a gorgeous place. But they had literally tried to open his door because the guy shined the light through and said, it doesn't look like anybody's been in here shooting people up. They tried to open his door. That could have been because Larry came out with a firearm. He came out. But anyway, if you missed that show, guys, you check that out yesterday. That was a great conversation. Before, I got other questions for Brianna, and she's got answers, dadgummit. I want to remind you guys about our friends over at Birch Gold. Text Chad, C-H-A-D, I spell it Chad, to the phone number 989898. And these folks at Birch Gold will get you a free no-obligation information kit, and if you get them on the phone, they will tell you how you can secure your financial future by rolling your retirement that's just not doing that much, if anything at all, over into an IRA backed by physical gold. Birch Gold will take care of you. They will walk you through. These are knowledgeable guys. We just had Philip on the show from Birch Gold last week, and pretty optimistic about gold. It's easy to be optimistic about something that's kind of determined what value is monetarily since the beginning of human history. Gold's not going anywhere, and it is up there today. If you're checking out what the spot price on gold is, pretty exciting stuff. It just means our dollar is trash, which ought to remind you, if you're putting your faith in the dollar, that's not where you want it to be. Make sure Birch Gold is your partner by texting Chad, C-H-A-D, to 989898 and let them know you want the information that may secure your retirement and your legacy. Brianna, you tweeted a little while ago about our friend Ken Paxton, Attorney General here in Texas, about them arresting abortionists. Texas has caught a lot of heat in recent, in the last year, really, over some legislation that's come through. They arrested an abortionist for providing illegal abortions and operating a network of clinics in Houston.
Yeah.
You think Texas is getting a bad rap on this, or are they headed in the right direction in terms of this right to life issue?
I think they're heading into the right direction on this because, listen, each state is allowed to have their own laws. And if you don't like their laws, you can pick up and move. As an abortion doctor, as they call them, you can pick up and you can move. You don't have to be here. But they're intentionally coming to Texas to do these types of things, even though they know it's illegal. And they think they're fighting for women's rights, even though it's the complete opposite of that. And, take your liberal beliefs all the way back to New York or California. They don't belong in Texas. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is why I appreciate Ken Paxton for pushing back, because a lot of people miss this. A couple of weeks ago in New York, a doctor is being wanted in multiple states because she's mailing the abortion pills in the mail to, in one state she was accused of doing it to a minor who made the minor very, very sick. And so there was criminal charges filed, and Kathy Hochul and the Attorney General, Tish James, both said, we're going to protect this doctor. We're not going to allow this doctor to be extradited. We're going to stay in here. We're going to create protections for doctors who are doing this in states where it's illegal. And they did it in Texas as well. The same doctor is accused of mailing the abortion pill in the mail to people who live in Texas, to women who live in Texas, obviously. And so Ken Pax is now suing that doctor. But this is the problem. Liberals want to nitpick at the certain laws that they like, certain laws they don't like, and then they go after the rest of us if we don't follow them to the T. I strongly believe that this is the issue that red states need to hold up on, because it doesn't matter what your stance is on abortion. Each state is allowed to make their laws, and it's not up to states like New York, if they disagree with it, to help people break your laws. That's the big point here. I don't care what anyone's abortion stance is. We should not be allowing New York State to help its residents break laws in other states. If they do that, they do belong in prison.
I love Ken Paxton. I think he's great in terms of chasing after the rule of law and pursuing it. I mean, this guy, he's filed more lawsuits against the federal government, particularly the Biden administration, than anybody could imagine. I wish he was the Attorney General of the United States. He's still on top of my list in regards to that. Andrew Bailey of Missouri would be my second pick, I think. But, these guys both, they share this passion for maintaining and upholding the law. And lest people forget, if they're willing to cut the genitals off of your children, they're certainly willing to mail them abortion pills. So the protection of young people and children and these just the illegal abortions. I mean, contraband abortions that are being done by unlicensed physicians in the state of Texas. He went after them, so I'm glad to see this happen. I want to see it happen more and more. Murder should not be legal in the state of Texas. You had a tweet out there, this call that apparently just happened between Trump and Vladimir Putin. And Donald Trump this has been a couple of hours ago, was currently on a call with Russian leader Putin. And they said he'd been on there for a while, and the team says the call had been going well. Now, earlier today, the leftist media over on X was saying that Putin was making Trump wait, that he was meeting with oligarchs while Trump, his lackey, was just waiting. People tend to forget that just a week or so ago, Donald Trump said, if you don't come to the table, we're going to put massive sanctions on Russia. So if he's Putin's puppet, then he would not be threatening these types of sanctions. He literally said, we will destroy your economy. That doesn't sound like somebody that's his puppet. What do you think the outcomes of these talks are going to be?
Yeah, well, it looks like peace. I mean, listen, Putin knows he's won this war, and that's the reality that Russia and Ukraine are going to have to deal with at this point. Ukraine doesn't stand a chance. They never did. Sadly, our own media lied to us on all of this. And so in order to preserve as many both Russian and Ukrainian lives, this war has to come to an end. And it looks like, based on a press release that was just released from the White House, that the top priority in all of this was, in fact, ending this war, getting to an agreement on ceasefire or peace agreements, and then also talking energy as well. So we don't have the exact transcripts, but it looks like President Trump held his feet to the fire and told him, you're going to have to come to the table with this deal. I think Putin's probably more willing than he would have normally have been under another administration at this point, though, because he understands that President Trump is going to cut off the money train to Ukraine as well. So both sides are financially incentivized to come to the table and make this move on peace. So we'll see how this goes, but Putin respects Trump, and I think the media has a problem with that, but I respect anyone who's willing to preserve lives, and that's where I fall on this issue.
There's, I think you said it a couple of weeks ago. I think it was you. I don't know a whole lot of Italian beautiful brunettes that are out there that I follow on X, but you said all they had to do is cut the money. And see, the Biden administration was never going to cut the money. I think Putin's wanted out of this thing for a while. He wanted to get what he needed to get out of it, but he wanted out of it. But as long as the U.S. and the UK and all them were going to be funding, the EU, I should say, as long as they're funding this, he had to stay in it.
Isn't it crazy?
In this deal, are they going to have to give up turf that they've already gained? Because
they're not giving up They're not giving up Crimea. I can tell you that.
Okay, because Ukraine took some of Russia too. I didn't realize that until I started reading a little deeper. There's areas that they took, and they went just as deep into Russia as Russia into Ukraine. Just different areas.
Yeah. Yeah, and the mainstream media won't tell you that, though. They won't tell you that this. I mean, it's like, I've never actually picked sides on this issue, only because it's so deep that I don't think most Americans understand it, and it's one of those conflicts that we should have never been involved in the first place. And I don't know if you guys recall, before this war even started, our intel community was openly warning Ukraine that Russia was going to invade. And it was Ukraine's own president, Zelensky, who was going back and saying, oh, no, that's not true. They're retreating. They're not coming in closer to our border. And that was all a lie. So sadly, no one's held Zelensky responsible for any of that. And I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's accidental. But again, I mean, this is a guy who won't even hold an election. And I think that's concerning, because this is a war that's supposed to be defending democracy, is how the left always put this. And he just took democracy away from his own people.
And he doesn't want the war to win because war to end, because as soon as it's over, there has to be the election.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you guys over in the chat, blow it up. Let me see some American flags, something. It's like I forgot you guys were there. I want to see you guys engaged over here. Click like if you have not done so already. Brianna Morello is our guest. She is an independent journalist and one of the best in the game. If you're not following her at Brianna Morello on X, you need to be doing that post-haste and also watching her show. What time does your show air at night, Brianna?
So we've actually got big news. So it's only on Thursday nights now at 7 p.m. Now we're pushing out, and it's starting today. And actually, Chad, I guess you could say this is an exclusive because I haven't even announced it on my page yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start doing 30 to 90-second news updates throughout the entire day. So everyone at home, if you're looking for a quick way to get right in on the news, it's going to be great. We're going to be doing it. It's called the Independent Newsroom, and we're going to be dropping all of these updates throughout the day on all my social media platforms. There you go.
Look at that cool little deal you see.
I know.
You got the cool little newsy thing. And you think you can do that in 30 to 90 seconds? That's hard.
I talk really, really fast. And I know a lot of my friends in the South really hate me for that. But it's the only skill I have as a New Yorker, is to spit everything out in a couple of seconds. And so I've been practicing with ex-boyfriends on how to win a fight real quick. So,
well, you and I have had that conversation about, well, we won't get into that. Let me just say before we go into a couple of other fun stories and get out of here, All Family Pharma, they're pretty cool. If you go to allfamilypharmacy.com and check out what they got over there, you need to get on that ivermectin, man. You need to have it on hand. You need to have all of the other stuff that they told you was bad for you back whenever the scamdemic and the Chinese sneezy was going on. Get over there, get you one of those emergency medical kits while you're there, because you never know when a trade war is going to happen or there's going to be supply lines that are shut down, and all your prescriptions, they come from China. And you want to make sure that, if you need something in the middle of the night, you've got those prescriptions of the regular stuff that you might take on any given, time. You got it in your cabinet. Be ready. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com. You can use promo code CHAD over there and save. These are good dudes. And but get your ivermectin and get all those other things, your membendazole and your fenbendazole and all these kind of things that I can't pronounce. Go over there and get them. They're good for you. I just started a new protocol yesterday. Get those little wormy things, those anti-parasites out of there. Thank you, God, for the ivermectin. It actually won a Nobel Prize. Just remember, guys, while they were telling you it was bad for you and you guys were chewing on horse paste. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, well, you can go to the farmer's supply and get you some ivermectin. Why don't you get something that's formulated for humans, and they'll help you by going over there. You go shopping, you fill out the form of what you need, fill your shopping cart, and then a doctor will review your order and will write you a prescription for these things. They're putting medical freedom back in your hands. Allfamilypharmacy.com. Use promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. All right, the CBP app for illegals. Party Foul, have you ever downloaded the CBP app to see if you're legal?
Not yet. Not yet. I know I'm legal. I've got all the passports and all the, flying stuff, all my credentials. I'm good.
So get this, Brianna. I have never had TSA like the pre-check deal. I've never had that for flying. I fly 250,000 miles a year. But I've never used TSA pre. I have Clear, and Sarah Gonzalez, our mutual friend, our buddy, she's always gotten mad at me. She's like, I can't believe you're letting them take your fingerprints and your retinal scans. I'm like, they got them. They got them, okay? And whatever, come and get me, copper. So, but now Clear has partnered with TSA. So you got to have both in a lot of places. Well, I never could get TSA pre because years ago, my last passport for 10 years listed me as being a female. Now, in this day and age, it probably wouldn't be that big of a problem for me to go in there and say that I'm a female and argue that case. But the TSA apparently believes in two different genders, and they were not convinced that I was a woman. So they would never let me get TSA pre. Finally, I got a new passport in the last 18 months. I went to the mall yesterday. I had to pre-sign up, and I went to the mall. And I keep getting these text messages from the Homeland Security telling them that they're running background checks on me and they're making sure that I'm legal. They're making sure that I'm human and I'm not from another planet or El Salvador and I shouldn't be on that Trinidad airplane in the middle of the night. So far, so good. But Trump is basically saying for illegal aliens, download the CBP Home app, now available on all app stores. Do it the easy way. And you know what? You can deport yourself. Real quick, let's play some of this clip.
People in our country illegally can self-deport the easy way, or they can get deported the hard way, and that's not pleasant. The Biden administration exploited the CBP One app to allow more than 1 million aliens to illegally enter the United States. Now my administration is launching the CBP Home app to give people in our country illegally an easy way to leave now and self-deport voluntarily. If they do, they could potentially have the opportunity to return legally at some point in the future.
Plane ticket?
But if they
Just
do
stop
not
it,
avail
stop it,
themselves
stop it.
of this opportunity, then they will be found, they will be deported, and they will never be admitted again to the United States, ever again. You're never coming in.
All right,
Using the
Stop the
CBP.
clip. Abu, he cried like a dog. He cried. I wouldn't have cried, but he cried like a dog. All you got to do is look at these airplanes, these people taking them off these airplanes by their hair and shaving them down, putting them in these El Salvadorian prisons. I would self-deport. I would be getting the hell out of town because Trump's basically saying either do it the easy way or the hard way. But if you do it the hard way, you're not coming back.
Yeah.
You'd have to find me.
Yeah.
If I was here, I wouldn't go back to them countries. You'd have to hunt me down.
Yeah.
Well,
I like how he repurposed the app though into a self-deporting app, and that was never the intent behind it. It was to allow these people to flood into our country illegally and make it pretty damn easy for them. I like the idea. I would like to see the deportation numbers though. I would like to see the numbers of people who self-deport. I think it's a little discouraging. The Trump administration hasn't been showing us those lately. They did initially, but all of a sudden we haven't really been getting the daily numbers, and I think that might be a reason why we might just be discouraged.
well, I think there's a lot of people that are going to choose to do it the hard way. You know,
Yeah.
come and find me. And thank God that Trump did come into office when he did, because we were definitely headed towards a UK type scenario where there apparently are no borders. There was a terrorist attack that just happened in the UK once again. Man, I said it this morning on the show when I know you've seen the story of all these trannies and Libby yo-yos who are just self-deporting themselves to the UK. They're all apparently, CNN reported record numbers of people are applying to move to the UK. Somebody just drove a van into a crowd of people. I can probably give you a list of about a dozen countries where I almost would, lay money on it of where this person was from. But the UK has fallen. Britain has fallen. Stay out of London, folks. Don't go. It's no longer a place where tourists need to be. You just need to avoid it. I mean, in fact, just avoid crowds. Move into my house. You guys just come hang with me. We'll sit around the pool and smoke cigars. All right. It's crazy. But I think we were on the verge of this. I think we're already there. I mean, it's just a matter of activating certain cells or people or whatever. So if people aren't, if we get down to the point where we are having to deport people more and more, like we saw with these Venezuelan gang members the other night, if we're getting down to where more and more of that is happening, Brianna, do you think that these people are going to say, you know what, the government cheese has dried up and now it's time for us to fight for what we came here for?
It's quite possible. I mean, we imported a bunch of people that we knew nothing about. We didn't do any background checks on these individuals. We found out later on that they all had ties, well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them had ties to ISIS. And our own DHS released them to this country. There has to be a purpose in all of that, because I can't imagine that just being a slip up, a whoopsie-doo moment type of thing. So I'm deeply concerned, but I gotta say, I've spoken to Tommy Robinson about this, and Tommy Robinson's sitting right now in prison in the UK.
I was about to say, is Tommy free or no? He's still in prison, right?
still in prison, sitting in solitary confinement. Him and I, we're pen pals. I do write him often. The prison does intercept a lot of our messages back and forth because they don't want him speaking freely. But he's being tortured, and he's trying to make that case. And thankfully, and shout out to Elon Musk, thankfully Elon Musk is well aware of the situation. He's actually paying Tommy's legal fees and helping Tommy get out of solitary. Now, Tommy's challenging that. He also has a terrorism case coming up later this month. Should actually be in just a few days. So I'm waiting to hear back from all of that. But the heartbreaking part in this is Tommy Robinson gave me a warning. He said, listen, you guys are importing people from like Catholic Christian countries, and so you don't have it as bad as you think. Here in the UK, we're importing people from countries that hate us. And that's the reason why he's now sitting in prison. So he's outed all of this. So like you've said, yes, it's deeply concerning. I'm really upset for those in the UK, but we're on the verge of that happening to us. If you recall, on New Year's Day, there was a terrorist attack here in our own country. And then quietly, everyone just shut up and didn't say anything because they're like, oh, well, he was born here, so he's not technically domestic, but he did travel. He did travel to countries that hate us.
Yeah.
Nobody asked those questions.
Yeah, and that's funny how those stories sort of disappear, right? Even the veteran that committed suicide in the Tesla truck, I'm still sticking with that story. I don't think there was anything more to that. I talked with the Green Beret Foundation about that. But this thing that happened in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, a whole different story altogether. And, you know, when you have 165 different nations represented at the southern border with these encounters that happened over the last couple of years in the Biden administration, there's not 165 countries below us. So these people are coming from all over the world. You can't walk here. There's no wormhole between Beijing and Juarez. So, you know, when you have Chinese nationals that are coming here, they're not coming here for the best of intentions. Crazy stuff. And speaking of terrorists, speaking of people that die when they shouldn't have died, it looks like Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, has made a statement that he plans to release the Benghazi documents. They're always releasing documents, bringing them out, declassifying them. I mean, at this point, what difference does it make, says Hillary. Oh, she's trash. Do you think we'll get anything there? I mean, was Ambassador Chris Stevens in Benghazi? Was he in Libya for the purpose of recovering Stinger missiles that were being sold to people that we would consider them falling in the wrong hands? That's something that I've speculated and believed in for quite some time. Brianna, you think we'll get any information out of this? Will Hillary Clinton ever be held accountable for anything?
Yeah, I would like to say that, yes, she will, but my confidence isn't really with Pam Bondi at this point. Benghazi is something that we know. We know all the information about it. So I can't imagine really much in the way of things dropping on our behalf that we figure out. I mean, our own federal government knew that was going to happen. They had hours in advance warning, and they did nothing to protect these people. So I got to say, it's disgusting. It's disturbing, but we don't hold the left accountable. We don't hold these warmongers accountable. Hillary Clinton has done so many crimes to this country that for some reason we just don't go after her. And there has to be some reason for it, or else Joe Biden would have used AutoPen to pardon her as well, but he didn't. Or they didn't, I guess I should say. So, yeah, I don't think anything's really going to come of it. I'm sorry to be like the Debbie Downer in the room on this one.
No, I think you're right, though. And I'm friends with Oz Geis. I'm friends with Tig Teagan. I'm friends with Chris Peranto, these guys that were there. And, you know, it's so funny when we watched 13 Hours. You read the book, but then you watch the movie, which was a Michael Bay movie, which he has to make everything explode. You know, the cars have to be blowing up the whole time. And Oz was like, well, it wasn't like that. Like there was a lot of bullets flying and mortars falling on us, but there wasn't anything like that. But at the end of the day, I want to know what the silent stuff was that was going on in Benghazi. And Hillary Clinton certainly needs to be held accountable. And then, look at this clip right here. We got to go, but look at this clip right here. This is a dude in California. He's in L.A., he's driving his cyber truck. He took his child to the... Have you seen this clip, Brianna?
No,
black guy, he's driving his deal. Racist liberal destroys black man's cyber truck while he was taking his son to the doctor. Turn the volume up.
So the doctor's office were like an enclosed, like little... Like, you know, it's like... If you know how LA is, it's like buildings look like this. So when you go into those type of buildings, you can't see your car. And I never think about that because I live in LA, but let me show y'all what I walked out of my car.
Watch this
You
quickly,
won't believe
guys.
what someone did to my car. Like, you won't believe it. Look how people looking at me. Watch.
It's terrible. This is sad.
Dude started talking to me. Look at this thing. Slowing down, trying to look at my car, right? Because whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's a white Tesla. No. This is what happened to my car, y'all. Look at this.
Look at that.
Look at this. So Wop woke up with a little.
And, you know, I don't want to be judgmental, but a black man in L.A. probably wasn't the biggest Trump supporter to begin with, driving an electric car. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think, like, these people are basically devouring each other. Because by and large, it's not straight, heterosexual, Christian conservative males that wear a cowboy hat driving Tesla Cybertrucks.
No, but you might buy one now.
I was gonna say, you get one, Chad, and get a wrap put on it, but have the wrap look like it's been vandalized.
just put like some Joker scribble on there. I would have it electrified. I would.
Yeah.
You know, I've told everybody, Glenn Beck years ago tried to sell me his armored SUV that if somebody was trying to reach in by the handle, that you could actually push a button in the cab and it would electrify the handle. And I thought, that is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's an amazing selling point right there. So
That's a great one for the BLM riots.
yes. That's back then. Glenn was like, you need this truck. You need this SUV. And I was like, for what, dude? That thing had to deal with
took it for a
spike
test
balls.
ride.
Well, the thing weighed 500,000 pounds. You couldn't make the brakes stop the dadgum thing. You'd run through somebody. It's like a semi. And then, of course, our buddy Ryan Long, I got to play this clip right here. This is how unhinged liberals are. Listen to this. Turn the volume up. Back it up and turn the volume up. Here we go.
Shit, if that would help get Trump out.
If I had to, I would. That's how much I hate the man.
Back it up.
He's a
Hear what he said.
narcissist.
How much
He said, listen.
shit, if that would help get Trump out.
If I had to, I would. That's how much I hate the man. He's a narcissist.
How much shit would you be willing to eat to get rid of him? Like actual logs.
I'm not going to exaggerate, but I'll do within reason what I have to do.
So it'd have to be a reasonable amount of shit. Like if it was a full dump truck that's starting to get out of control.
No, I'm definitely not going to eat a whole dump truck, but I will do what I have to.
What if it was just like a smaller car, like an Aztec or something like that, and the trunk was just full of the shit?
I hate him, but I'm not going to do anything that's going to go against me either.
You'd be willing to eat maybe like a log or two, but you're not going to eat like a full dump truck worth to get rid of Trump for your country.
Eat a little bit, but that's about it. Just to show that I do not like the man.
What's the
I would eat just like a little bit of doo-doo.
He's been eating a lot of shit these last few years now, obviously. Like, you don't get to that stage, you're not eating the shit. So he's eating it up pretty well.
He just goes on and on and on.
I mean, would you eat a dump truck of turds, or would you just like a little Aztec with the trunk full? Like, would you eat a bowl full of doo-doo? Like, how much doo-doo would you eat to prove that you hate? And this guy was literally going along with it. I would eat one of my own turds, like one log. But I don't want to go overboard. I don't want to do something that's going to...
Do you even love this country if you're only willing to do one little
You know what?
log?
You know what? People have sacrificed their life for the red, white, and blue. My God. I mean, they've lived and
little
died and
turd.
bled. From the, you know, good Lord, from the shores of Iwo Jima. People have died for this country, and you won't eat a turd? The hell?
Oh, gosh. We should tell him to download the self-deporting app.
Listen, if you're going to eat doo-doo in the name of patriotism, leave this country. I don't want you being here.
Yeah.
Or go to San Francisco. They got a map. You can find some.
You can find doo-doo all over the street, man. I mean, that is the definition of man-made meat right there. I'm going to eat. How much doo-doo would you eat? All right. That's enough. Brianna, you're awesome. You're my friend, and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for jumping on. This was last minute, and you said yes, but I saw your tweet, and I said, with Juanita, and I said, I want to see if you'll jump on. So
Always. Thank you for having me, my friend.
you're awesome. You're awesome. I got to get up there and see you guys here pretty soon. And Party Foul Steve, any final words, my brother?
I'm ready to hit the road. We got shows this weekend.
We got shows this weekend, buddy. It gets busy now through the end of May. So somewhere every weekend. Brianna, tell us once again where folks can find you and when.
just head over to Twitter. That's where I'm always at. Brianna Morello. That's BreannaMorello.
All right. All right, guys. As Party File Steve said, go to watchchad.com is where all the fun stuff is. I'm in Springfield, Missouri with Jesse Payton this weekend. 3 nights, 5 shows. It's a whole lot. I'll tell you right now, the early shows, they're going to be sold out probably by tomorrow. But so you want to move quick, but come hang out with us. The late night shows are always off the hook, and come check us out. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the Dear America program one more time at 9/8 Central. Stay tuned for Hot Seat Todd. The Hot Seat is coming up, and then On the Subject with Mega Move 32. For Brianna Morello and Party Foul Steve, I'm Chad Prather. I love you guys. Don't consume too much media. It'll rot your brain. Share this episode. Go give us a 5-star rating and a review. I love you. God bless you. I'll talk to you in the morning. Till then, bye.